Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome to my YouTube channel. Guys, can you please clap for me? Can you clap for me, please? Can you clap for me with the clapping emoji? Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Watch turn on my video. I should let you guys see me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm your special guest for today. Thank you guys for welcoming me. Merci beaucoup. We're just gonna get started. So we can move on to make sure that this is at least an hour. We're trying to make it longer than 1 hour. However, the session is built for about 1 hour 30 minutes, but we'll try to make it under 1 hour, right? My name is Felix. For those of you who some of you know me, most of you do not know me, but my name is Felix, and I'm the Gen Z HR. Recently, I've been ranting on Twitter about people resigning from work. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably have seen that somewhere. But it is what it is, right? People are trying to move on with their life. People are trying to get something new for themselves, which is fine, really, right? Which is fine. People are trying to, I'd say, I don't know if people are trying to, what's the word now? Looking for greener pasture. I work with a lot of clients, and people are leaving, really, and it's fine really that people are leaving, because it's the end of the year and people are always going to want to change jobs regardless of how comfortable you make them feel. So I've been ranting a lot on Twitter lately, and I was ranting, I think, yesterday about somebody sending me a resignation by 7 a.m. Why do you want to do that? Why are you sending me a resignation by 7 a.m.? Do you want to spoil my day? Do you want my life? So yes, I was talking about that. I mean, it's funny. It's just me trying to just express myself, really. It's not that deep. I promise you, it's not that deep, really. I mean, I love kids until they begin to cry. I'm a Chelsea fan, yes, and I think that I'm the most profiled HR professional in Nigeria, perhaps around the world. I don't know, but I know that in Nigeria, I am the most profiled HR professional, because people see me, and then once people see me, they feel like, oh, I am either a musician or a DJ. Police have done wonders, to me. They're asking me what club I DJ'd at, stuff like that. Many things. But I'll pass all those things and move on to the most important thing today, which is winning in the global tech job market. How do you win? How do you stand out? How do you stay employable in 2026? How do you ensure that you do not lose guard? How do you ensure that you are involved? That's what we are doing here today. We are getting you involved, right? We're trying to help you get involved, right? And that's exactly what we are doing here tonight. Myself and Fred will be helping you a whole lot to demystify all of these things. And we're hoping that you're going to learn on a lot of things, really, from this session today or tonight. Now, very quickly, I'll make this very fast because we're taking so much time already. I'd like to check your mood today. I mean, you're back home from work. If you have a job, for those of us who do not have jobs, I mean, you probably have been applying, a lot today, and maybe applying with one CV, which is very bad, by the way. 200 jobs. But for those of us who have jobs, we probably have come back home, or for those of us who have jobs and you probably have closed your laptops. If you're a remote worker, maybe you have closed your laptop, maybe you haven't, really. But I'd like to know your mood. What does your mood look like right now? What's your mood like right now? Let me know what your mood is like. For me, I am number 2 because I've been paying bills. I've been paying a lot of bills, since the beginning of November. Excuse me. I've been a lot of bills. So tell me, what's your own? What is your own? So you can give me number 2 and number 8. I've been going through a whole lot. We use the number and tell me, what is your mood? What does your mood look like? How do you feel? 1 and 8. Margaret, calm down. 1 and 8. Okay. What's going on now? 1 and 8 is a lot here. 1 and 8. Okay. Where I find all of now? 1 and 8. All of you 1 and 8. What's going on with you people? Okay, 1 and 8, 1 and 8, 1 and 8, 1 and 8, 1 and 8. Interesting. I hope all of you saying 1 and 8. I hope the stars fall in line for you, right? I hope things fall in. I mean, I hope everything falls in place for you, really. Um, I hope everything falls in place for you, for real. Okay, thank you guys for engaging. Let me quickly just run through my slides. You can keep your resources coming. I'll just quickly run through my slides and ensure that I have enough time to, hoping to finish in 15 minutes so that Fred can take over the next 15 minutes, really. But yes, thank you guys for sharing. Why does this conversation matter? We're talking about this again. We're talking about winning in the global job tech market, right? In the global tech job market, I beg your pardon. How and why this conversation? Why does it matter right now? Why does it matter? Why does it matter to you? Why does it even matter to us, right? Why should it matter to you? It should matter to you because 2026 job market is equal to, it's a fast place. It's a global tech market. It's a global job market, and it's very much AI driven. That's why we're having this conversation today. The 2026 job market is fast. It's a global market. It's a lot more global right now, and it's very much AI driven, right? And companies obviously are hiring beyond borders. You know that already. I know that companies are not just hiring people living in Nigeria, people living in their locality. They're hiring people living abroad, people they don't even get to see, right? And of course, tech plus digital skills are becoming like baseline. People are asking you, what tech skills do you have? What digital skills do you have? When they want to hire you, when we want to hire you, right? So we're looking for all of those things there. And of course, your competition, I'm sure you know that already. Your competition is no longer local. It is very much international. It is very much global. You may have seen that these big techs, so like the big fintechs or as Money Points, they have a lot of global talents. They have a lot of global guys. They have a lot of foreigners in their company. I mean, they are, I would like to say a Nigerian company, but of course, you know what I mean. But they're hiring a lot of guys out there. They're not just hiring Nigerians. They're hiring a lot of Nigerians, obviously, but they're not just hiring Nigerians, right? They have a lot more diverse, workforce, that spans across different, or that spans beyond borders, right? So that is why your competition is no longer local. It is very much global, very much international, right? That's why this conversation matters very much to us, to you, and to me tonight, right? I thought to bring in a few perspective into all of this, by the way, guys, you may want to keep your questions. We're going to be having like a Q&A session with Fred. And maybe if you want to ask me a few questions too, I'm happy to take them. But Fred is the major question answerer, if you permit me to use that word tonight. Fred is the one who's going to be asking a lot of the questions tonight. So please keep your questions for Fred so that he's able to answer them. I'm just going to give you a brief of everything I think that you should know before we move into Fred's Q&A session, right? What are the biggest global shifts at the moment? What has been the biggest global shift, from 2024 till date, right? A lot of you are going to agree with me that one of the biggest global shifts has been AI. Yes. Who doesn't agree with me? Who doesn't agree with me here? AI has been a global, has come in and has disrupted a lot of things. Who doesn't agree with me here? Is anybody here who doesn't use AI? Big question, guys. Is anybody here who doesn't use AI? I don't use AI. Let me see your hand. Let me see your hand here. Okay, I use AI. Can I see your hands up? I mean, I use AI, so that's fine. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Fair enough. All right, good stuff. Thank you for sharing. Yes, I use AI for a lot of things. I use AI to help my work make me do my work faster. I use AI to improve, productivity, and many other different things, really. So yes, you're going to agree with me that AI adoption is accelerating. It has been crazily changing, right? People have been adopting AI. You have been adopting AI. I have been adopting AI. I have adopted AI, yes, and roles are changing. They are not disappearing, of course. They are changing, right? Roles are changing. AI is taking a lot of different people's jobs, obviously. Jobs that can easily be taken, by AI, right? I see people say maybe photography or social media management can be taken by AI. I don't know if you believe that AI can take your job, but I don't think AI should be able to take your job, right? And AI is not your friend. Yes, AI is not your friend because I mean, like Emmanuel Faith said some time ago, your friend will not be struggling to take your job from you, or will not be threatening you to take your job from you. So yes, AI is not your friend. Just my thoughts, by the way. And number two, one of the biggest global shifts again is companies are facing talent shortages. Companies are struggling, to retain, and companies are looking internationally, for skills right now. I'm sure you may have seen that a lot of Nigerians are working for companies abroad. They're no longer hiring just locally; they're hiring internationally. Because there's a lot of talent need, and the skill need, by different people, out there. And remote plus hybrid work is becoming standard. Of course, you know that already. You are very much aware of that, and there's a lot more emphasis on skill-based hiring, which means that recruiters are looking less and less and less at your degrees. I personally do not look to I don't take too much cognizance, into your degrees, right? They are important. Don't get me wrong. Degrees are fantastic, but I look more on your portfolio. What have you done? What can you do? And how much skills do you have? So I look at your portfolio. So again, it's become a skill-based hiring, not necessarily a degree-based hiring right now. Except you're doing graduate trainee, stuff like that, and yeah, and again. These changes, guys, they have created opportunities. They've created a lot of opportunities for different places. If you position yourself correctly, they've created a lot of opportunities for you. All of these changes, whether remote work, whether AI adoption, whether the talent shortages internationally, they've created a lot of opportunities for you and myself. And if you position yourself correctly, you absolutely are going to eat from that basket. Moving on, what do employers value a lot in employees, or what will employers value in employees by 2026? You may have seen this before, and you probably have not taken cognizance of it. I want to beg you right now. I want you to pay attention to what I'm about to share here with you, right? Again, I have to make this so easily so that you can see all of it, and perhaps you can read as well, from here, right? What employers will value in 2026 is that employers will care more about your skills, about your communication, and about your impact more than ever. Okay, employers are looking for your skills. What skills do you have to offer? How much can you communicate? How great a communicator are you? Right? I'm looking for your impact. How impactful can you be in my business? What impact can you possibly bring to my business? Right? Companies are also employers are looking for cultural intelligence. How intelligent are you, or how emotionally intelligent are you when it comes to relating with your colleagues at work? Are you the person that is always looking for, always talking tribal things on Twitter? You're that tribal guy that everything about you is tribal. You're just very tribalistic. Oh, I can't work with this person. I can't work with. For instance, I can't work with. You can say you cannot work with. Oh, I can't work with the Igbos. I can't work with the Yoruba. I can't work with the Hausa guys. Are you that person? For that person here, you might need to have a mindset shift. Because what employers are looking for in 2026 is somebody or people who have cultural intelligence. You can coexist, you can collaborate, you can cohabit with people who are from different regions than you, right? We are also looking for people who have digital fluency. It's no longer an option for you to have digital fluency. It is very much important. Very much important. You need to have this. You need to know how to do things digitally. You need to have a digital footprint, for instance. You need to have people need to see you out there, right? It's no longer, this is no longer the time where you say I'm a shy person. No, you're not a shy person. You are somebody who is going to put your foot forward, and ensure that you get stuff done. That's who you are, and that's who you should plan to be by 2026, right? And employers are looking for people who also are continually learning. You're continuously learning. You're looking for learning opportunities for yourself. These are the people that employers are looking for. People who are looking to learn. Always looking to learn. Those are people who employers are looking for. And by 2026, these skills these are the things that a lot of employers will be valuing or wanting to see from you as a job seeker. And I'm hoping that you as an individual can obviously find a way to learn all of these skills, or to, I mean, not necessarily learn them, but find a way to live them, live these skills or live these values, and ensure that you are great to and good to go. Those are the skills that employers will value a lot more in 2026. I also went ahead to share like a checklist, for global competencies, like some of the things that again we are going to be looking forward to in 2026. We're looking for people who can use AI. Yes, we're looking for people who can use AI. Look, there's no reward for suffering. There's no reward for the best in suffering. I don't know if anybody here has seen Best in Suffering award. Has anybody here seen Best in Suffering award before? Help me out here. Have you seen any Best in Suffering award? Please help me. I want to know. Yes. There's no such thing as best in suffering. Okay. AI is here to make your work easier. AI is here to make sure that you make your work even faster. So every one of you on this call should be able to use AI tools. Okay, you should be able to use Chat GPT, should be able to use Gemini, to use some of these tools to help make your work a lot easier. I'm not saying go ahead and get fully dependent on AI. Absolutely not. I don't advise that. It's not going to work for you. It's going to make you very dull. If you're doing that already, you need to stop it, right? But by all means, you need to learn how to use AI tools. Super important, as they're going to help you a whole lot. You need to also be comfortable with data. Okay? Because once again, guys, decision making is not just decision making anymore. You need to back your decision making with data. It has to be data driven. Okay? As you make decisions, in businesses are making decisions that are data driven. If you want to change your business model must be backed by data. If you want to change your team, if your team is resigning, for instance, like a lot of businesses now, their team is resigning. What they are doing right now, they're doing what do you call it again? They're doing exit interviews. What are they doing exit interviews for? They're trying to gather data to ensure that they understand exactly why their people are leaving. And once they understand why people are leaving, they begin to plan, measures, as measures to ensure that people don't leave. They understand the data first, and then plan, ways to mitigate people leaving, right? So you need to be data confident. That's a word. You need to be data confident. Everybody here, you need to be able to. At this stage, you can learn machine learning or whatever. I mean, by all means, go for it. But know the basic data. Know the basic data tool that I can use to analyze data. Excel, Power BI. You could obviously use like what again? Google Sheets to obviously to analyze data for yourself, really. So please, by all means, go ahead and learn all of those things, right? Super important for you. The next thing is communication. You need to know how to communicate clearly. You need to learn how to communicate clearly. You need to learn how to communicate with structures, okay? So global teams obviously need clarity and obviously structure. So you need to learn how to communicate clearly as a young person, and also as a global talent here. And adaptability. Yes, you need to evolve. You need to adapt very, very fast. You need to be very, very agile. You need to be very super agile as a young person or as a global talent. You need to be very, very agile, right? And I've mentioned this before. You need to have cultural intelligence. You need to have an understanding of the global work etiquette. Simple and short. You cannot have that mindset you bring from living only in Lagos or living only in Abuja or living only in Para or living only in maybe Akwa Ibom or Anambra to the global stage. You can't have that. You need to also have an understanding of the global stage, right? That means that having cultural intelligence, super important. I've blown my time here, but I'll just try to wrap up here very, very quickly. I also went further to share a few of them. These are not an exhausted list. No, this is just what I thought I should share with you for the day, for a start, right? These are some of the roles. of the roles that will dominate 2026. This is a research. I could share you a research output afterwards, right? But this is like the research I obviously did, and some of the tech roles that will dominate are dev, dev roles, and of course DevOps engineers. I don't know. I'm sure you know what DevOps engineers are. AI is there, machine learning is there, cloud computing is there, data is there, cybersecurity is there as well. Why are these guys here? Because they have global shortages. You know, they have global shortages of actual top talent. You know, when you talk about the non-tech side, of course, there's HR tech. I have to put that there because why not? You know, there's HR tech there, there's digital marketing there, there's business analysis there, there's product management or project management there, there's customer support there, and also virtual assistants, you know, there as well. These tools, these roles are going to dominate 2026 job market. Watch out for it. Watch out for it. And of course, companies want talent who can blend technical plus business thinking. Not just talent who only have like maybe technical skills. They want to have talent who have like business thinking as well. So you need to have both technical and business acumen as a young person, as a global talent. You must. It's not an or thing here. It's a plus, and you must have those technical and business thinking. You must have those, you know, as you move forward, as you become a global talent, really. And where opportunities are really, you know, in around the world, really. I thought I'm not going to go deep into this. You know, I'm just going to leave this slide for you because I'll be sharing these slides with all of you here. You can go ahead and see, you know, what everything here is about, so I don't take so much time explaining this because I don't need to explain anything here. This just shows you where opportunities are. Where are the opportunities? Where are they? These are where you see the opportunities, really. You know, I'll share this slide with you again so you can take a lot more things. Lastly, guys, I went further to create like a framework. I talked about a framework that will help you to be global ready. How can you be global ready? Okay, so I created a framework that will help you to be globally ready. And one of them is, of course, I like 4 pillars, right? One of them is like skill readiness. Skill readiness. You need to have skills. You need to learn skills. You need to be very skilled. Okay, not necessarily very skilled, but you need to have something to show. Okay, you need to have something to show. And you need to have personal brand. If I go my personal brand, I mean here that you need to have you need to have a digital footprint. You need to be seen out there. You need to be seen, at least, even if it's a Wikipedia page, your LinkedIn page, most importantly, by the way, you need to be seen there. How many of us here have a LinkedIn page? How many of us here? Oh, okay, no. I think most of us here have LinkedIn pages. How many of us here do not have LinkedIn pages? Yes. I was at a session in Abeokuta, and I asked people how many people didn't have a LinkedIn account, and people were telling me their reason. I was quite shocked, but I mean, it is what it is. That's like right there and then people had to like create LinkedIn accounts, you know, to share, of course, and also to like message me, you know, and we started obviously talking there and everything. So you need to be ready. You need to have a personal brand. You need to have a brand out there for yourself. Build something for yourself. Okay. If I go to Google right now and I search your name, what will I see? That should be like a very small exercise you can possibly do right now. Go to Google and search your name. What do you see there? Come back and share with us what you saw or what you see there. Share it in the chat box. Go to Google right now, search your name. Okay, like for me now, I'll go to Google and search Felix. Let me do that quick search right now. That should be everybody's just quick class tests. Just very quick class tests. You go to Google and search, what do you see? This is what I see for mine here. This is what I see on my Google page, right? What is yours? Tell us about yours. Okay, but this is what I have on my own page here. What is there for you, right? Share with us what you have on, you know, in the group chats. Oh, sorry, not in the chat box. What do you have there? What do you have there for yourself, right? That's important. That's super important. You need to have a personal brand. I'm waiting for you guys to share with me what you have on your Google pages. So please share with me. I like to see them. You know, or if you don't have anything there right now, then there's a problem. But it's a problem that has a solution. The solution is for you to start sharing things as a personal brand, or Start building a personal brand online. Start building a personal brand online. Please share with me in the chat box. Don't unmute your microphone yet, please. Thank you so much. You need to also have experience, fantastic. Okay, your LinkedIn account appears first. Great stuff. Well done to you, Elona. Well done. Who else is there? Oh yeah, Liz has a Facebook and a LinkedIn. Just share it here. Share your LinkedIn page with your followers. Fantastic. No, don't send a screenshot. Don't send it. Just tell us what you see when you search your name on Google. What do you see there? Your LinkedIn account appears. Great stuff. Your LinkedIn appears there. Fantastic. Great stuff there. Well done, Mary. LinkedIn, IG, Facebook. That means that most of you here have something to show. But it doesn't stop there. It means that you need to build it. It doesn't stop at you just having something to show there. You need to build it. If I now click on your LinkedIn page, what do I see? What will I see? These are what personal branding are. Personal branding is like what people know you for. What are you known for? What are you known for? If you're not in the room and people call your name, what will people think of you? What will people say you are? That's really what we need to see on your as a personal brand, really. And lastly, opportunity navigation. You need to be available. You need to be very much available to navigate through different opportunities, really. While you have your skills, you have you're very much skilled personal brand. You have obviously experience. You need to find the way to navigate opportunities. How do you navigate opportunities? You need to join communities, be part of communities, who have access to opportunities. Follow recruiters, be open out there, because recruiters are always looking at your LinkedIn pages. The global market is sort of that people don't just come to you. They do not come to you just by I saw you in my dream and then I came to you. No, they obviously have they must have been checking on you, for a very long time before they come to you finally. So you need to be there. You need to obviously show yourself there. Show yourself out there. Your LinkedIn, make sure it is super. Tell stories about your work there. Don't say, oh, my work is too small, I can't talk about it. Absolutely not. Talk about your work. Talk about your research that you're doing there. Talk about the work you did. Talk about the awards you've won. Talk about these things. These are what make up your personal brand, and eventually it begins to build something for you. That's how I started building my personal brand until today. And today, people know me as the Gen Z HR. I didn't just come and say, oh, my name is Gen Z HR. No, I started building my personal brand bit by bit. And by the way, somebody saw me and got in the office and called me Gen Z HR, and it stuck right from my 95 days, right? So yes. Now for skill readiness, guys, you cannot just be building random skills, right? You need to focus on skills on the skills that your target region and industry value the most. What skills does your target region and industry value the most? Do you want to go to Canada? What skills are the Canadian employers looking for? Do your research around that and get the most of it. What skills are the UK folks looking for? I already shared that here. Look at this. I shared it here already. Look at. I mean, I'll share this again with you guys. So these are going to help you a whole lot. What skills are they looking for in the US, right? Look for those things and find a way to work around it. You need to also learn tools used by global teams. We want to learn how to use Slack. Very important. If you don't know how to use Slack here, please find a way. Join communities on Slack and learn how to use Slack. Jira, you need to learn how to use Jira. Notion, super important. GitHub, super important for the tech folks here. Ensure that you learn how to use some of these skills. They are going to help you a whole lot. And while you're learning these tools, I beg your pardon, certifications are going to help you a whole lot, but only when paired with actual projects. Why am I saying this? I'm saying that you need to start working on something. Excuse me. You need to start working on something. Start working on projects, for yourself. Start pairing up with your friends, your colleagues, and work on projects. Do some hackathons, and ensure that you get things done for yourself, right? And lastly, your goal. Excuse me, let me catch my breath. Your goal is competence plus evidence. That's your goal. You need to be competent plus you need to have evidence. You need to have evidence. Your goal for the global market is that you need to have competence plus you need to also have evidence. Your evidence here is your portfolio and your resume. Your portfolio, most importantly, by the way, because that's what shows what you have done, what you can do. Please, again, your goal to becoming a global talent is competence plus evidence. Competence plus evidence. Not those endless courses that you do not take or that you do not finish, really, right? And lastly, building a global personal brand is very simple, super easy, because your online presence, or super important, because your online presence is your new first impression. Your online presence is your new first impression. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that anymore, because I'm sure you understand what first impression means. Recruiters from UK or whatever, all the other countries, look at your LinkedIn before your CV. Yes. How many of you have sent people your CV on before people did look out? How many of us here have been reached out to on LinkedIn? Did they see your CV before they reached out to you? I'm sure they did not reach out to you. They did not reach out to you because they saw your CV. They reached out to you because they saw your LinkedIn profile. They did a search on LinkedIn and your profile came up. That's why they reached out to you. So yes, recruiters from the UK, the US, Canada, they check your LinkedIn before your CV. And your story must be clear. Who are you? What do you do? And who do you serve? Not like who do you help, but who do you serve? Who are your target audience? Who are your target audience, right? That's your brand, your global personal brand. And your global brand must be consistent, visible, and very, very value driven. Okay, your global personal brand must be consistent, visible, yes, and very much value driven. Okay, you must talk about your personal brand. You're not constituting the news as no, but you're talking about your personal brand, a lot. It must be consistent, visible, and very, very value driven. Okay, again, still on LinkedIn. I'm wrapping up here. Your LinkedIn these are the LinkedIn that attracts global talent. For your LinkedIn to attract global talent, your headline must state your role, your value, plus your industry. I don't have so much time to go and show you everything right now on my LinkedIn, but if you have time, I think I could share my LinkedIn profile to you. Where's that? So you can just take a look at it and see what that looks like. I'll share a link with you people. 1 second. Oh, come on. There you go. Yeah. All right. So your LinkedIn must have a headline. It must state your role. Your LinkedIn headline, must state your role, your value, and also your industry. Check out my LinkedIn profile and see what it looks like there. Your about section must tell a story, not just one random description. Tell a story about what you have done or what you can possibly do. Now your experience. In your experience there, please quantify your achievements. Quantify it. Give it number. Okay, and please, by all means, don't just be the LinkedIn person that just goes ahead to LinkedIn to just look at people's stuff. Engage people's posts. Engage their posts, and that's what gives you visibility. Comment, like, share their posts. You share more posts as well for yourself, right? That will help you a whole lot. Okay, recruiters, again, we search by skills. We literally search by skills. To ensure that your skill session is actually very apt and very great to go. Guys, thank you so much for your time. It was great speaking with you, and I hope that we have obviously been able to learn a thing or two from here. Because I was rushing, I couldn't share a lot of insights with you, but I'm sure that as we move forward, we are able to answer questions or ask questions and also answer them. But I won't take a question just yet. Keep the questions right now, and maybe I'll introduce Fred to you guys. And Fred will be the one to take all your questions for now. And then if you still have questions for me much later, I will absolutely come in here and answer them. But for now, please permit me to obviously introduce Fred to you. Hi, Fred, are you on the call? You want to say hello to us first?
Yeah, hi everyone. Can you hear me good?
Fred. Yes, clearly. We can hear you clearly. Thank you so much for joining. Guys, please give it up for Fred and welcome Fred to the webinar. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us, Fred. Yes. So, guys, if you have any question about everything I've shared here, or more things about tech, that you think that you want maybe Fred to answer here right now, Fred is here to answer all your questions. But Fred, I'd like you maybe just give us an introduction of yourself. Tell us about you. Tell us about what you do, and what you think we should be doing as a global talent. Before you go ahead and ask you our questions. Welcome once again.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Hi everyone. My name is Fred. I'm a senior software developer with Global Interactive Online here in the UK. I started programming like 7 years ago. Actually, just like most people, I transitioned into tech from an industrial chemist. I actually practiced industrial chemistry for like maybe 2 or 3 years. Then I got into tech after that, did some hackathon, then transitioned into tech. I majorly work on like high-end products with a very data-driven product, essentially. I currently work in the iGaming industry now, where we process kind of like tons of data to kind of like predict the market and all sort of stuff like that. But maybe during part of the questions, as I'm answering, I would try to share a lot of my experience to kind of like augment everything. So that's me in a nutshell. It's nice to meet everyone. To the question you ask about kind of like how to position yourself for global markets, I think the Gen Z HR have actually done a good job in tackling most of the things. The first thing, of course, is capacity, right? You have to know your stuff. You have to build the capacity. If you are trying to get into the global market, you're also going to be playing the big leagues. You are going to be having interview that other local talents are also having. So like they used to say, you probably have to be as good or as twice as good as them to get on. So the first thing you want to focus on is build capacity, know your stuff. Whatever parts that you've decided to focus on or choose, you want to be as much as a subject matter expert in that part. To some extent, at least above average, especially right now that the AI is kind of like coming for the bottom class in terms of like intellectual work. So you want to move quickly away from that and get to the top position as much as you can in terms of how much you know and how much you could do. So after you are able to build capacity in any sense, maybe that's learning a language, certification, or anyway, the next thing you want to do is to be visible, right? It's probably pointless if you can do a whole lot of things, but nobody knows about it or nobody hear about you. So you have to be visible. Like he said, LinkedIn is like the global space. That's where the global, that's where people that are looking for global talent goes. So it just makes sense that you as a global talent also kind of like play around there, hang around there so that you meet these people. So you have to be visible. You have to talk about your journey. You have to communicate your progress. If you build something, you just don't want to say, oh, I've built this. You have to say why you built it. What impacts does it have? What led you to the idea of building it, in the sense like, okay, what the story behind it. So it's always good to do that. I mean, if there's anything I would probably like to do better when I started out, is probably to be more out there. Because when I started, I'm kind of like, I just want to write code, get my pay and go home most of the time. I mean, maybe I'm vocal in the workspace itself, but I don't do much conferences or stuff like that. But it shows, because contributing to open source, attending tech meets, posting about your work, these are actually things that signal subject matter experts. Because you might be good, but if you don't put it out there, nobody will know. So that's like very important. The other thing when it comes to global space is they do value open source contribution for a couple of reasons. So number one thing is, as you tend to work for industries that are big, you can't show the code to anybody because these are private repository. You cannot work for any industry and their repo is open or public and you want to show your interviewer. So If you are not careful, you can work for 10 years and you can't show interviewer anything on your GitHub, because every organization that you work with, of course, they have to protect their own code. So you will not be able to show that to anybody publicly. So that's also part of the reason why open source contribution is important. But if you do contribute to open source, this is open to everyone. They can see, especially if you are able to contribute to a big open source contribution, maybe a framework or a language that a lot of people are using. So this is super, super important. And even if you cannot do that, if you build anything tiny, it doesn't even have to be something like really big. It can be a compilation of tech resources. It can be a compilation on a particular topic, and you just compile it together, put it on GitHub, and share it with people that, okay, guys, I feel like people go a long way to figure out how to learn this. I compiled this list of videos or YouTube or anything together, and it will make it easy for you guys. So that's one way to also go about it if you cannot contribute to like maybe a language or framework or anything like that. The last one before I probably, so that I don't take more time on this question, is hang around where the people that are actually recruiting for global talent. You also want to hang around there. Apart from LinkedIn, you want to join Discord servers for things like remote work. You want to join all these job boards like We Work, Remote OK, and every other ones. Also, if you know companies that are hiring globally, or you research them and you know about them, you probably want to follow them. So when there is opportunity, you are aware that, okay, something is happening at this point. Yeah. I hope I did answer that question. Yeah.
Thank you so much for it. Thank you so much for sharing your insights with us. I think that we are good. I have a few questions to ask you, Fred, before I let every person come in.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I'm just going to guys, please prepare your questions. You can leave your questions in the chat box while we are asking Fred. While we're asking Fred our own questions. So keep your questions coming, and ensure that they are in the chat box. Give me 1 second. Where's that? There you go. I'm just going to get them.
No problem.
Okay. So I'm just going to ask about. Fred, you have been doing this for 7 years now. You're a senior guy, and you've been doing this for 7 years. I just want to ask. Firstly, what do you think? What do you think are the top technical skills? I mentioned a few of them already, yeah. But what do you think are the top technical skills employers are looking for, like in 2026? What do you reckon?
Yeah. Okay. So you've kind of like list most of them. Obviously,
yeah.
AI is going to take the center stage for a lot of reasons. So for businesses, when it comes to CapEx and everything, everybody wants to put AI into whatever they are doing because it signals to investor or even the stakeholder that you are progressing. So apart from the fact that it could help the organization, you actually just want it there. It doesn't even matter how. Everybody wants to put it there because you want people that are purchasing the stocks of the company to feel like, yeah, okay, this is progressing. So that has to happen. So the skills when it comes to AI is, most people always thought maybe you don't have to be the one building the model. Of course, you can be an AI engineer or a machine learning engineer, or you can be data analyst, data engineer, where you kind of like source for the data, like, okay, where are we getting this data from? Are we scraping the internet? Are we getting it from users? You have to source for the data. You have to extract the data. You have to store it, manipulate the data, clean the data, so that in a sense, you make sure you clean out all the noises. So if you can, you are to do AI or machine learning, that would be good because that will put you at the center of everything that is happening. But apart from that, even if you are not doing that, everybody's trying to see how they can integrate AI into whatever they are doing. So if if I'm selling a bottle of water now, at minimum, I'll probably start thinking, how can I put AI into this? That's going to be what everybody's going to be doing next year. That's 100% sure. Uh, then, of course, cybersecurity, because AI has kind of like make coding a little bit easy, especially when you use assisted or agentic AI, which has a different conversation on its own. But it kind of like allow products to be out there faster, and it also means that the more products you have, the more surface of attack that you have. So, and most of these are actually unprotected. So if AI is churning out all these products, you at least need to be protected. And people are also shifting from what we have now in terms of cybersecurity, where you have hard rules of, okay, I want to block this IP. I don't want anybody from China to use my product, or I don't want anybody from somewhere to use my product. Or you put your resource behind Cloudflare to kind of like help you mitigate attacks. People are also seeing how we can use AI to do preemptive security, like kind of like detect pattern earlier compared to what we do now, which is react. Okay, like, okay, there's like 1,000 requests in 1 second. It means that somebody's trying to hack our system, so we do something about it. But now they are trying to notice pattern and see how that will work. So cybersecurity is still going to be a big, yeah. Organization is going to start looking at software engineer that can take the product from idea to actually the end product. So you start looking at development, building, scaling, monitoring, security, a lot of things. It's already a common trend now, where if you are looking at a software developer job, you also start seeing DevOps roles. Like, okay, if you build it, can you deploy it? Can you deploy it in AWS or GCP? If you deploy it, can you scale it if we have more customers? And if you scale it, can you secure it if we have an attack? So this is kind of like becoming the trend in a way. And as AI kind of like come for coding itself, you as a software developer, you start thinking of, okay, a holistic approach of the whole product. So, and it's becoming a common trend where they just hand over a feature to a developer to kind of like take it from the beginning to the end. So AI, data, software, of course, cloud computing and edge. So as AI is becoming rampant, but right now most of what we still have in AI is still cloud. So everybody's talking to AI somewhere. But people will always be kind of worried about security. So there will be a lot of edge computing whereby the AI is on your phone or is on like a edge device or a Raspberry Pi, whereby everything, I think that's like Apple's goal. That's why they've kind of like been slow with their own AI. They're trying to see how much more possible of kind of like localizing the AI on everybody's phone to their phone instead of in a server somewhere and your data is out there. So that's going to be a lot. And of course, all these models has to live somewhere. So cloud computing is going to be a big one. And even right now, the people that are making money from AI are still the infrastructure guys, AWS and co, because they are the ones that are hosting all these models and they consume a lot of resource. So in summary, machine learning, AI, data, software development, full stack in a sense, definitely cybersecurity. Yeah.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. Let's talk about building a global ready profile, right? One of the questions I have here is what should a tech candidate, I mean, an ideal tech candidate include in their portfolio or GitHub to stand out, to global recruiters? What do you think?
Okay. I think if the first thing that I've noticed especially is you have to have something that works, like a project. It might be a project that you build, you host it. It might even be an application that you build and you put it on App Store. It might be a website. It might be anything. If you are a developer anyway, you have to build something that you can show. Like, it's easy to say, I've done a lot of things, but you can't really show it because it's organization or something. And I could say I help Money Point build their app. That's kind of like might be true, but it's kind of like
Yeah.
obscure in a sense. So they want something that kind of looks yours that you can show. It doesn't even matter how small it is. For UI UX, somebody can make a replica of BBC websites or something. So that's also showing that, okay, this is what I have, this is what I do. So you want something like that. Another thing that play huge importance is actually experience building a production grade application. I feel like a big one for me when I joined, because I before I moved, I did work for a company in the Netherlands, even while from Lagos. And a big one from there is they actually want somebody that have actually built a production application before, which is like a bit of a issue for people that are coming up like a junior and a middle developer. Which point the first points that you have to build something, even if you're just learning, you have to build it, you have to deploy it, you have to let it be there so that somebody can see and say, okay, I built this. These are the decisions I made while building this. You'll be able to talk about it in a sense. So other things is also kind of like understand cultural fits. Before I got that job, I did interview a lot of interviews, and some that I actually passed the technical interview, but one way or the other I might fail the HR or the cultural fit. So until you kind of like learn the country or the region where you're applying to, kind of like understand the way they work, like he said, the etiquette in a sense, especially like all this interpersonal relational question. There's no wrong or right. It's just, is it the way they want you to handle it? So some of these questions that they will just ask you, you are in this kind of scenario, will you do this or do that or the other way? Like, okay, your boss give you a work, you don't like the work, what will you do? Will you tell your boss you don't like the work? Will you do it anyway? You know, those questions, like they know what they are looking for, right? And even if you said any answer you choose is not wrong, it might just not be the way they want it. So it would be good to understand what the culture is like there and how to kind of like position yourself into that and manage that. So that's also like very important. Again, I've mentioned it before, also be visible, especially when you are looking for global opportunities. You have to be visible, write about your work, talk about your work as much as possible. Sometimes when people mention communication, they assume it's just aura, like talking to someone. But written is actually also communication. In fact, in a global team, you probably do more written than communication, because even though everybody's speaking English, there's still always different kind of English. Yeah. So, but written communication is just there. Everybody can read it. Everybody can understand. So being able to do that clearly is also a good one. So, yeah.
Interesting. Thank you so much for sharing. Last question before I let every other person take over. For you, right? What strategies did you personally use to get noticed by global tech recruiters or companies? What strategies did you use? Just maybe just make it a lot more personal, and people can also relate to that. Yeah.
Okay. I think for me, when I first realized that I wanted to be in that space, the first thing that I do is to probably just get my feet in the door. So before I actually got the one in Netherlands, I worked for a company in US. I think ASEX, they are still in Lagos right now. They are a health tech firm. So before then, I think I was in FSDH Bank, it's a merchant bank in Lagos. And the moment I have that opportunity, I made sure I kind of get it, because I understand that having an experience in a global team, it kind of like give you opportunity to get into another global team. So you have to be intentional about it and be like, okay, this is what I'm looking for, and I continue to look for it. So that's one thing first. If you are not intentional about it, you might not even know the opportunity is there. So you have to continue to look out for it. Then the second thing that I did was I already have like a project. It was like a quotes and notes that I built. It's just like giving you random quotes and stuff. So that I built, pull the codes from different sources and kind of like show you like codes of the day and all, which was like ages ago. I think it's still on my GitHub now. So I built that and I kind of like implement some of the things they look out for: clean code architecture, for functional programming. Some of the things, the language, the terminology, everything. I try to put it there because I might not actually be able to use some of this in my day to day, right? So building that project allowed me to kind of like put all those things in there, and I'm able to show that every time, like, okay, this is what I've worked on, and that kind of like position me into like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Then that's how I kind of like getting because when I got in there, and I haven't contributed to open source at that point, but it's a big one. If especially if you are just getting into tech, just start with open source as much as possible. It's a big one to kind of like do open source volunteering or stuff like that are not essentially tied to money, that you're just giving back to community is a big one. So doing that, we help a lot. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Let me quickly, guys, please give it up for Fred. Please give it up for Fred, everyone. Please clap for Fred, everyone. Oh, thank you so much. All right, let me quickly just go through to the questions we have in the chat box here. Where do I start from? Let's start from here. So someone is asking, what if you just left the present industry? I think that question was for me. I will come back to that question, but let me move on to the next one for Fred. Please, how can I contribute to open source as a designer? Thanks.
Okay, so there are some projects. If you do some searches on GitHub, there are projects for open source. Again, sometimes open source doesn't necessarily mean the design itself or the code itself. It can be a compilation of resources, right? that other people can use. And also it can be a design that people are building together as a community. So if you can go Discord, it's like a good way to actually see what is happening. Reddit too can be useful, especially if you go to the Reddit UI UX. So those are like some of the platforms that are not fairly common, but they use it a lot, especially in the global space. So you also want to look at whatever local communities that you have that are UI US, SDC, DevVest, all those things that are happening in Lagos. From there, you connect with other UI US developers, see what is happening in the industries, and make sure you do work and you put it out there and say, okay, this is it. So if you just search GitHub, you see a lot of open source, and some of it are just some of it are very small. There's like a landing page compilation. There is buttons compilation, giving people different kind of buttons, and they are free, so anybody can use your design of whatever button they use. So people also contribute to it. There are modders, there are, especially in UI US. I also use some of those resources because open source, they are free. You can look at it, you can contribute yours to it too. And the more people use it, maybe they start the project, fork the repository, is a good signal for you in the global industry.
Nice. I hope you've gotten it, Kingsley. Kingsley, that question, the answer was for you. Someone's asking, are there places I can learn business analysis or project management? I'll leave that to you too, Fred. This is your time to shine. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's like tons of places. I think a lot. I was looking at the comments. A lot of people have said a lot of places where they are learning, Coursera, Udemy, and all those things. I think one important thing about learning is, I think people kind of like take a lot of time trying to select, oh, is this course the best one? Google is offering a course, should I do that one? Or Amazon or IBM is offering the one, should I do this one? I think what's more important is actually picking one and sticking with it to the end. Because even me as a person, I have a lot of courses on Udemy that I've not finished. So don't get paralyzed by the analysis of selecting one. You just want to select one, stick with one, finish it. If you do need to take another one, then you can take it at that point. The main thing is that you take one with a fairly good review and you make sure you finish it to the end, especially ones that are product driven, ones that are actually building something. Especially in tech, you don't really just want to watch videos. So, and most of the instructors are fairly good. Most of them have project attached to the learning experience. So you'll probably be fine with most of the standard ones. As long as you actually do the whole thing, finish it, and come up with a project at the end of it, you should be fine. Google do have a lot of free ones, so you can go wrong with that ones.
Nice. Victoria, Victoria has a question. How do you work on your LinkedIn profile as regard the industry you were in if you have just left your present job? Sorry. Do you want to? I don't know if I understand the question. I would like for her to ask it so you can maybe help out with that. Victoria, I don't know. Share. Hi, Vic. Yes, please unmute your microphone and share with us. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for your time, for the knowledge shared. I'm really having a swell time. The question is, now, if I go on my LinkedIn, just the way you said should search for Army, mean the organization I just left, and I've not joined a new one, hopefully very soon. So what should I do? Should I go and pull it down, or I should just leave it there for the time being, depending when I'll get a new one? Thank you.
I don't want to give you bad advice. I'll leave you to Press. Press to give you the bad advice.
I can't give you bad advice. I mean, I think context matters, right? The first context I will ask is, how close are the two industries? So, take for example, when I was in practicing industrial chemistry and transitioning into tech, those two are kind of like really far apart. So at the end, you probably have to decide where you want to go. The second context is, are you still trying to get job in the previous role? If you are, then you might probably come in between, like keeping it. But if you are not, you're probably better kind of like structuring your LinkedIn to where you are going. I mean, if they are not close together, is in the past, you want to be looking forward. So, and you don't want the online presence to kind of be confusing. So you take, for example, I said I'm in industrial chemistry and I'm working for like a company, and I'm saying that I'm looking for a software developer job. It can be very confusing. So if you've decided to move forward, you're not looking for a job in that role again, and they are not closely related, because there are some that are like transferable. So maybe I'm a data analyst before, now I'm in tech, or I'm in tech before and now I'm in DevOps. They are still kind of like close, so you can live the experience, if they have transferable skills. But if they are like wide apart, or they are like industry that doesn't even play together at all, then you're probably better structuring your LinkedIn to reflect the future, not the past. So I understand, this is from Jennifer. I understand there are various branches on that data. From your perspective, which of these would you say offers the most opportunities globally at the moment? So generally, it's usually around 3 opportunities. You have data science, you have data analyst, and you have data engineer. So engineer are the guys that kind of like set up the pipeline, deploy whatever it is, and also build the models. You have the analysts that kind of like make sense of whatever data is to provide a final output for the companies to make decisions based on that data. And you have the science guy that cleans the data, manipulate the data, and all those sort of things. But depending on the organization, sometimes only one person can do this. And sometimes this can be shared within 2 or 3 people. But the advice on to where you should go is, I feel like the hardest job are the one that are always least overcrowded. So for most times, you want to always move towards things that are hard. It kind of like counterproductive, but it's the way it is. So anything that is too easy will always be overcrowded. Is either is automated, or a lot of people get into it and you can't really command any differentiating factor. So with that in mind, you want to move as close to engineer as possible, which are the guys that actually build the model. But you can start from anywhere. You can start as an analyst first, using Tableau, SQL, and some Python. If you're okay with that, you can get into the science, understand how to clean the data and everything. Then eventually, after a few years, you can get as an engineer where you understand how to build a model or use an existing model to kind of like work on your own data. So they are not mutually exclusive in any way. So you can always start with science, with SQL, Excel, and some Python to get you running. Then you continue to grow. For most tech jobs, it's not really where you start. As long as you continue to learn and improve your skills, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So don't get stuck with which one should I start with. Just start. Yeah. And get clearer after that. I hope that helps. Okay. The next one, what is the future of project management in tech? How can one go into it? The future is still solid. The future is still solid. Like there's a huge space between me as the owner of the business saying that I want to build a food delivery app and a developer just building it. Not every developer is interested in trying to take the idea and trying to dissect it. And as your team grows, you actually need people that can have a high level oversight of the whole project, because eventually you have developers that are in charge of little bit of the project. So the job of project manager is kind of like understand everything, holistic approach. They understand what the business wants, and they understand how to kind of like communicate that to the developer in a way. So the job is here to stay. I mean, every job is always wondering about AI, but the job is here to stay, and you shouldn't worry. Again, the main thing is to kind of like build capacity. Sometimes as a product manager, they tell, okay, do you have knowledge of this? Because there's always a bit of domain knowledge with all these industries, right? So, and that's where the goal is. Almost everybody could eventually build something if they deeply understand it. But there are some people that have worked in, let's say, fintech now, that are kind of like understand the domain knowledge, the licenses, and the things that you have to obey, and those things are like important. So yeah, the job is not going anywhere. That's going to be there. As to where to start, there are indeed a lot of project management courses that you could do, which is good, but nothing beats having an experience in a project. So there are many ways that people try to do that. First of all, you probably want to have an idea. So maybe you take a certification, you know what it is, and then some people interns for free. There are some companies that actually have internship. You can apply to those. But some people, to just get their feet, have a real life project. People sometimes interns for free, and you email the organization like, oh, I'm a new project manager and I'll be willing to work for 2 days in your organizations, to shadow you. And most people like free work, so you can use that to get in. Then you can take it from there, because experience is important. Because it says product manager, but in the end you manage more people than product. which is an headache. So experience will help you with that. Let me see. As an undergraduate actively seeking internship opportunities in the tech space, particularly in product management and UI UX design, what exactly are employers looking for in candidates like us? What skills or experiences should we intentionally develop to become more attractive and valuable to potential employees? Okay. I Badejo, this is good question. This is good question actually. I think again it boils down to all the things that we've talked about. You first have to build capacity. So this product management or the UI UX, you have to know how to do it. So if it's UI UX, you have to be able to show the work you've done on Figma. Maybe you've even built a product on Figma. Like I said, there are some people that just build a replica of a product. So people can build a replica of GT Bank app and kind of like talk us through the enhancement they will made if they are employed to do this. So you tell a story behind it and all. And if you have that, you make it public, you can show that to interviewer and employer that, okay, this is what I've built. And they can ask you a question around your decision, which is good. So after building capacity, again, you have to be visible. You have to show it out, tell people about it, hang around where, other UI, UX are. And also lastly, you have to, look for where all these jobs are actually being communicated. Again, some of these tools are underutilized, LinkedIn and everything. LinkedIn is a social space, but it's more than a social space. A lot of opportunities are being broadcasted here every day. So you continue to look for what actually aligns with you and keep applying, try internship. As you are also trying internship, you also want to continue to build and have more stories to share. And in the end, opportunities will actually come. That one is sure. I hope I answered that. I'm not sure with the next one I should take. I recently learned data analysis. How can I get internship roles so that I can practice with some real-time data and build my skill more? Okay, this is good. If you've learned it, do you have any projects you can showcase? As a data analyst, there's a lot of data, raw data on Hugging Face, right? The data platform. You can take any of this data. There's a food price analysis, there's world population, there's a lot of things. You can take all this data, kind of like bring insights out from it, not necessarily insight that people have noticed, but from what you've learned, what are the trends you can see based on all this data? Then whatever you learn, you can now put it up on LinkedIn, share it. Then, of course, very similar to other questions, keep applying, keep building most of the time. Again, the thing is, industry companies are also looking for people that can solve their problem. So you have to communicate you can solve that problem. But if you learn something and you just have a certificate and you just put it in your CV, but there's no projects, there's no work to show for it, that would not work, because honestly, certification nowadays, unless there's actual experience to back it up, people could be playing all the video and they will say, oh, congratulations on completing data analysis or stuff like that. Yeah. So you need the projects, you need, as a data analyst, play with data. There's a lot of free data, play with it, bring out insights, share it on all these platforms. Like this is what I could see. And that will position you in a good place to actually get the job. It's more like showing the job before getting the job, which helps. There's a lot of problems, fraud detection. There's a lot of data that you can use to see. Most of these guys like Stripe, they have their data, past data on Hugging Face. You can look at it and say, okay, maybe Stripe could have even spotted this kind of fraud miles ago. So again, it takes a lot of sitting down with the problem, right, and trying to see what you can bring out of it. And by then you write about it, you make it yours, and that will give you a position. I hope I answered that too. Do we still have time? Should I continue?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Go for it. I mean, we are 9:30 on the dot, but go for it. I think that they are enjoying it. So let's go. Let's do it.
For someone who has left the remote space for about a year and coming back to a competitive space, how do I align myself with getting a full-time role? 2, how do I overcome fear because I blank out and flop in interviews? Actually, this is actually a good question. It skipped my mind when we were. It skipped my mind when we were talking about a global team and all. I think what they used to call this imposter syndrome, right? It's a big thing
Yeah.
when you join a global team, like especially when you are coming from Nigeria or Ghana, because somebody is from Ghana. You always assume that these people know something you don't know, like there's like a trick or a magic that you don't know, and their code is different than yours, or they don't write like yours. But most of the time, it's not it's not exactly true. It's not exactly true. When you sit down with the code, you see what they write. It's almost as they want you write too. So having fear or having imposter syndrome is not the problem. But if it's affecting your interviews, that's where the problems comes. I mean, I can share some things, but like yes, I might even have more as regards interview. But essentially, you have to practice with others, trying to, because it might be two ways. It might be not really a talking people person, which can make you kind of like panic, and it might also be like you're just panicking because you are not sure you know the right stuff. So you can validate your knowledge, right? Be sure that what you know is enough. Then the rest is probably trying to talk to people, do like a simulation interview, put yourself in that position. It can be intimidating, right? With the algorithm tests, live coding exercise, which is something very different from the interview I've done in Nigeria. Most times you talk with people, maybe you get a take home, but live coding exercise or list code are not so common. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's one. But to the first question, coming back to remote space, I think for most times when it comes to remote, it hasn't changed much. Communication is still a big deal, because there's this thing they said that most of our communication are non-verbal, right? So, but when you're in a global team, the only form of communication you have is probably verbal or written. So people lose what your body reaction is when you are writing it or when you are saying it. So that means you have to say exactly what you mean. Don't assume. Some of the slangs that we use, some of them actually mean something different in another culture. Some of the assumption that emoji even means, it actually means something different. Like saying sorry now, in another culture, they will say, "What have you done wrong?" Or somebody will say, "It's not your fault. What are you sorry for?" Right? That has happened to me several times. And in Nigeria, sorry is like a good thing. People will like, you tell me sorry. Good man, right? But in other culture, they'll be like, "Why are you telling me sorry? It's not your fault. You've not done anything. Or what did you do wrong that you are sorry for?" So just understanding the culture that you're getting yourself into and kind of like communicate clearly as much as possible. And also, as long as you've had remote experience before, you shouldn't have problems with interviewer. I mean, if they ask you, have a remote? Yeah, you have remote. This is how you work. They probably ask you a question about what your day-to-day look like in the remote team. You know, the stand-up, the retro, and all those things. If you can answer that, then they don't have any problem. You are far much better than somebody that have never worked in a remote team before. So communication, culture fits, and trying to solve the issue of the interviews, because global, the interview is brutal. Even the work is less hard than the interview. You go through coding exercise and everything. The actual work might not even be as hard as that. Okay, hopefully I answered that.
Kingsley, hi, please go ahead and share.
Okay. I just want to get a little more clarification about. By the way, it was an interesting session. I've learned a lot of nuggets, so I highly appreciate the organizers of this program. So when you say you're positioning yourself for global talent in our own context, for me, I'm looking more of remote roles. So if you say global market, global opportunities, do you mean opportunities that will take you out of your country, or I just want to know? But in my own case, for now, I'll be looking at working globally and remotely from Nigeria here. So this advice, is it for those who are looking to move out of their country? Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not for those who are looking to move out of their country. It's just for anybody that is trying to work with the global team. It doesn't. I mean, the whole point of the whole remote is so that you could work from anywhere. So it could be from Nigeria. It could even be that you travel to Maldives and you're having your vacation, but you are still working. So it could be from anywhere. You don't have to move out of your country. As if you are applying for jobs, you just apply to jobs that they are not offering relocation or they are asking you to relocate. Then, in fact, most of them will probably prefer that, so that works.
Thank you. Thank you. Habib, are you there? Okay, Habib is back.
I just wanted to call attention to my question in the chat. If you could please answer it. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I may have missed it. Fred, go check it out.
Okay, yeah, I think I've seen it. I am actively searching and applying for cybersecurity job roles, and I have the skills and several professional certificates, but I currently work as a service desk analyst. I can't seem to get a cybersecurity job. Okay. Do you think that the two fields are too far apart, so I should remove the job title from my LinkedIn profile so as not to confuse recruiters? How can I have a cybersecurity portfolio to show my skills? Okay, this is actually a good question. I think as regards the having a lot of professional certificates, I'm assuming you have CompTIA, right, for cybersecurity. So if you, because that kind of like seems like the, okay, that's good as the industry standard. I think what you could do from there, even if you are working for a service desk, the closest opportunity is if your current company actually have any cybersecurity team. If they do, it might be the first place to look, right? You're already working with them. You are working as a desk analyst, right? You already understand the product and everything. So if they have, you can actually talk to the person that is leading that team, and that might actually happen for you to get your feet into that place to start with. And even if that doesn't happen, you can always still keep applying to kind of like cybersecurity job. As regards your LinkedIn profile, right? Again, it's very similar to what Victoria mentioned. You already have this desk analyst job, right? If you are not looking for that job, you should probably put cybersecurity in your LinkedIn, because when the recruiters come, when they search, right? Sometimes people prefer to do quiet recruiting, whereby they just search for the skills they are looking for, right? And they try to approach these people like, okay, I'm looking for this role. I think you'll be a great fit. Instead of posting and there's like 1,000 application in like 1 hour, some people try to do like a skill fit. And sometimes when they do this search, LinkedIn is going to use, skills sometimes, but mostly what is also in your profile, like, software engineer or cybersecurity jobs. So it might be good to actually put it there, because even if you set up LinkedIn alerts, it's going to alert you about this job, but that's only the job that is posted. There's a lot of jobs that people, I'm sure a lot of people here are familiar with it, where people will come to your DM like, I'm recruiting for this firm. I feel like your profile will be a fit. And most times they get to your profile because what they search kind of like match what you have. So as long as you're looking for a cybersecurity job, you're not trying to get a desk analyst job, you should actually have the cybersecurity. Even if it's a junior cybersecurity you want to put there, or a mid-level, you want to put it there. And you want your profile to signal that, that's what you are. Like, that's your brand, or that's who you are. This is important. Because most people don't have the patience to go through it and say, oh, he's doing this now, but he wants to be this. They won't interpret that for you. So probably just want to make it easy for them and let your profile align with what you want to be. how can I have a cybersecurity portfolio to show my skills? This depending if you are actually into cloud, which will be good, because if you are in the traditional sense whereby you have on-premise server and you have a lot of things, it might be difficult to show that. But if you are into cloud and you are to, maybe in VPC, zoning, protection, WAF, the website application, fireworks, and all those things, you could have some random projects, right? And put it behind a firewall, put it behind this, and have it there, for people to see. Of course, you have to shut down the server so it doesn't cost you money on AWS. But the code or the approach that you take is always going to be there. And even if you cannot go to that extent of building, right, and leave it there, you can communicate, how to actually secure a web application. What are the common security issues that web applications used to have? In the age of AI, what are the things to look out for when, all those things, right? You want to write about it, publish it. It's kind of like signal that, okay, this is where you are. So that do help. Yeah. Thank you. I think that's it, right?
Thank you so much, Fred. It was lovely.